Next up, we've got King Ivers, who asks, aside from Bret Hart, who do you think is the greatest Canadian wrestler?
Oh God,
Well, that's an interesting one.
Canadian, other than Bret.
Owen.
Probably because Owen was. I mean, he came from the same family, and God bless him. What happened was horrible, but yeah, I would say Owen. I would say his brother. I mean, like me, both of those guys grew up in the wrestling business, and like it was more than, just a job. It was like their life, their lifestyle. And, and then when the tragedy with Owen was just golly, you know, couldn't, couldn't have happened to a better guy. He was liked by everybody. And he was also, he was a prankster.
Mm-hmm.
Owen would he would do these elaborate ribs that would have everybody, and including whoever the rib was on, would end up laughing about it. So anyway,
Mm-hmm. And nobody was safe. He was like ribbing his own father and stuff. It's
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. So, but no, Owen was, yeah. I would have to say, it's kind of like, and now the only other, I guess the Rougeaus, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they were okay. They were. But I wouldn't. I just wouldn't put him in that category.
I know that Jake would probably say Ronnie Garvin would be his selection. He
Oh,
counts him among the best ever.
Canadian. Oh God, yeah. Okay, I just switched. I mean, hands down, Ronnie Garvin.
He was really good.
Oh, really good. Yeah. And I forgot that he was Canadian.
Now, Ted, we were talking about Owen and Bret, and I actually hear a lot of people say that Owen was a better wrestler than Bret was. Do you have an opinion on that? Do you feel like Owen was better in the ring than his brother?
I don't know that. I don't know that I paid attention enough to try to. I would say he was at least equal to his brother, but I don't know. I mean, Bret was a good. I mean, he was good. I mean, I had some matches with Bret. To me, it's all because of the way we look at wrestling business. We both grew up in it. We grew up in it, and Bret's dad was the promoter of the territory up there in Calgary, and had been a worker himself, and of course, and then my dad was a wrestler too. So, and I think when you grow up at something like that, you have. I think you have a little more respect for it than just somebody who comes in off the street.
Jake brought up a really good point when he was talking about how he learned wrestling so quickly as he was coming up. And he said, well, I had the benefit, which most second generation guys do, including Bret and including yourself. I had the benefit of getting to be a referee for a while, which means that I was in the ring with these guys and I was hearing them call spots and hearing how the crowd would react to them and how they would improvise. And he said, that really helped me.
Hey, you know what? Ditto. Me too, because I was in the ring not just every night. I was the referee. I didn't just have a match. I refereed all the matches.
Wow.
Like if there were 6 matches on the card, I was the referee.
That is
And
awesome.
I was in the ring with these guys night after night after night. And Jake's right. I mean, we learned a lot about the business before we ever put on trunks, just by being that guy in the ring.
I'm sure Bret benefited the same way. So it's really cool how like a lot of a lot of you second generation wrestlers got that start. So what a leg up you guys had, huh?
Yeah, it was good.
Hey, so speaking of Brett, this was a question that I asked Jake on Ask Jake Anything, and it kind of happened organically, like it is today, where it's like it was something that I was reminded of as we were talking about Brett, and now I'm going to ask you as we're talking about Brett. I have a feeling I know what your answer is going to be, but just hear out the scenario to really kind of get your head around it first. Um, I have a friend who's going to remain nameless who swears that the Ultimate Warrior was a better wrestler than Bret Hart. Now you're going to ask why. The reason why, in his justification, is he says, of course, Bret could work circles around the Warrior. The Warrior was nowhere close to being as good in the ring as he was. He said, but as a professional wrestler, the objectives are to draw money and to be a big, identifiable character. And he said, Warrior had the leg up in both of those two categories over Bret Hart. And I'm like, okay, an argument could be made then, if that's the objective in professional wrestling, that okay, as a professional wrestler, he's higher up on the list. I don't know, Ted. What are your thoughts on that line of thought?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Warrior had size and he had a look and everything, but where he had nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason that he was a success is because guys like Bret Hart and me and many others took that idiot in the ring and told him what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And had he not had that, he would have never been shit.
Not to mention, and this is the point that Jake made whenever I brought this up, he said, you give anybody the kind of opportunities that Warrior was given, he's like, and they'll shine. You feature them on TV the way that he was, give them the opportunities. He's like, imagine somebody in Warrior's role who is a polished worker and is good on the mic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's,
Well, again, you heard it from two guys who grew up in the business.
there you go. So I'm going to tell his friend to stick that theory right up his ass.
Yep. Good. Tell him I said so.
I will. Straight from the $1 Million Man.